In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the IDW comic series Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and particularly the newest graphic novel from that series, which is called Northampton, Volume 8. So this is written by Kevin Eastman together with Tom Waltz, and Kevin Eastman, one of the original creators of the Turtles, so it's great to have him back on board. They relaunched this series in 2011. And the original artist, when they relaunched, was Dan Duncan, who did an awesome job. He did volumes 1 and 2 and got the series off to an awesome start. So, as you can tell, I love this comic book series. It's one of my favorite comic book series of any publisher going on right now. And the reason I love it is it just has really well-drawn characters that you can really connect to, and the protagonists, the Turtles, they just have this strong brotherhood and these strong emotional connections that you can really feel through the pages, the family bonds. The other thing that's great about this comic series is there's three-dimensional villains. So you got Shredder, you've got Krang involved, you got Baxter Stockman, but they really develop these characters in great ways, and they have them interacting with each other, where the villains are kind of playing off each other, and then also, of course, kind of antagonistic to the Turtles. So there's all these multiple dimensions of the power dynamics and everything that are going on. That's really fun and really engaging for the reader. And then the villains have very realistic motivations, very kind of three-dimensional motivations, not just this angry bad guy. Even though it's this fantastical settings of mutant turtles, it's still they've given these realistic motivations to the villains, and even though it involves like Dimension X and that kind of stuff, you can really kind of understand where the villains are coming from, what's motivating them. A good example of this is Baxter Stockman. So Baxter Stockman is in the series from very early on, but he's not the Baxter Stockman from the old cartoon that I remember from being a kid. Baxter Stockman is actually a smart scientist, very ambitious, and he has this program going on that leads to the creation of the Turtles. And what he's actually doing is he's contracting his scientific and technological services to Krang, because Krang is trying to maintain power over in Dimension X, and he has Baxter Stockman actually kind of working for him as a sort of contractor on Earth to build these kind of mutant soldiers, mutant things. I won't say too much about that. But Baxter Stockman is just a very good character, a very full character, and he's a great one to have around in addition to Shredder and Krang and the others. The other thing that's great about this comic series at the beginning is just the emotional punch. They have these Japanese flashbacks where there's kind of a reincarnation vibe to it. There's this Japanese family, and then now connecting to the Turtles in present day. And those Japanese flashbacks are so well done, and they really have this emotional depth to them that I love, and it helps really connect me to the Turtles as well in the present time. So the emotion is great, and the depth of the characters is great, but there's also the humor, there's also the action that we want to get from the Turtles. That's there as well. Everything is really put together perfectly. I can't say enough good things about this comic series. And the plotting over the volumes does a great job of managing the large cast. They've got April, Casey Jones, Krang, and others. So it keeps it going forward at a good pace. There's a graphic novel every 4 issues, so they really kind of bring things to a conclusion, but with things still moving on. They really handle the plot well, and it's been good. I mentioned April, so April's there. She's not her reporter self. April is actually an intern at Baxter Stockman's company, so then April actually ends up being kind of involved in the origin of the Turtles, which is really a kind of an interesting way to bring her into the mix. Similar to what the movie did now, the new Paramount movie, having April actually sort of be connected to the Turtles when they were still Turtles before they were Mutant Ninja Turtles. So they do that here in this comic series too. They do it really well. Now the current volume is Northampton, Volume 8, just came out a few weeks ago, and this one, just like the series overall, just a great comic book. City Fall 1 and 2 is just prior to this. Epic events in City Fall 1 and 2, so check those out. Really big stuff happening in City Fall, Volume 1 and 2. Now for Northampton, the action moves out of New York City, and it actually goes to the countryside, and the countryside has a wonderful look and a great feel, kind of a change of pace. But very beautiful scenery, a new setting for the Turtles. The story continues to have that strong emotion, the strong bonds between the family, with some new challenges kind of coming into that family bond. In Northampton, April's character is really developed more fully. We meet April's parents. We get a little bit more of a background on April, which is really good. And then there's a new character introduced in this volume, and it's Koya, who's a hawk mutant. And I think you'll really enjoy this character. You definitely want to check it out. And I think it's going to go interesting places in the future, too. So a new character in the Turtle universe, very exciting. Volume 8 also has a new artist on board, so this is Ross Campbell. And at first, you know, he definitely comes through differently. Dan Duncan was my favorite. One way you can really tell a good Turtle artist is how they handle Splinter. Dan Duncan, originally to start off the series, I think did a great job with Splinter. Some of the later artists didn't do as good of a job with Splinter. He had kind of this off-putting feel to him. Similar to the movie right now, I think Splinter is a little bit off-putting. Ross Campbell comes in, does a pretty good job with Splinter. His turtles look different. They're more curved. They have more soft features. And actually, especially in the first chapter of Northampton, the characters look a little bit more childish, or maybe just more child-friendly. Maybe they're trying to have, you know, have this appeal to younger kids, which is great, I think. April looks younger. She looks more like kind of an early college student rather than sort of like a late college student. But she is a college student, so I think it's okay if she looks kind of young. But really, after I got used to Ross Campbell's art, I actually really grew to like it. He does great with the action and the energy. He has some good kind of splash pages, so I got used to the style quickly. I really like it. So overall, Northampton is a great new installment in a great series. IDW, I think, is really nailing this take on the Turtles. It's good to have Kevin Eastman back, but really Tom Waltz, I think, is the mastermind. Now, I will say for Northampton, it's kind of laid back for Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. So I'm kind of feeling like, man, you know, is there going to be any action kind of happening here? But I was pleasantly surprised. So the midway through Chapter 3 and then all the way through Chapter 4, as much action as you would want, and it's great action. So it definitely, that action, when it comes there, when it gets there, it's great. There's one particular splash page with Michelangelo coming in that is just set up great, builds to it great, and then that splash page is a perfect way to hit it. And a great resolution at the end of the book too. I won't say too much about that, but it comes to a great conclusion, and yet sets up Volume 9, where I'm really curious, and I think you will be too, to see what happens in the next volume. So this series keeps hitting it out of the park. If you didn't enjoy the movie as much as I did, and you thought maybe the movie was missing some things that you really expect from the Turtles, I definitely recommend checking out this IDW series, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It started in 2011, going till now. It is quintessential Turtles. I think you'll love it. So, thank you.